ground, getting back to help, and nothing forward of the footy.
Did pretty well to get some of his body on that. Break it up, but Daicos wins it. Away he goes. A couple of bounces. And like his brilliant father, thumps it through. There he is. Hello, Daicos.
That's incredible.
What sort of DNA have they got rolling in this family? It's ridiculous.
In the world of Australian football, name carries weight, and few names are heavier than the Daicos name. But this isn't just about legacy, this is the story of Josh Daicos, a young man stepping out of the shadows of his father's greatness to carve his own path. When Josh Daicos was born in 1999, the Daicos name was already etched into Collingwood folklore. His father, Peter Daicos, was known as the Macedonian Marvel, a magician with the ball and a beloved figure in AFL history. Growing up, football was a family affair, but being the son of a legend comes with its challenges. For Josh, it wasn't just about living up to a name, it was about creating his own. Before Josh made his way to the AFL, Josh had played for the Oakley Chargers in the TAC Cup and Vic Metro in the National Championship, a proving ground for many future stars in the AFL, and his performances for the Chargers certainly caught the eye of recruiters, showcasing his natural talent and football IQ.
The Collingwood Football Club has chosen Josh Daicos from the Oakley Chargers.
Believe it when they said Josh, there was a couple of Joshes in the draft, so when they finally read out, the right one, just greatest moment of my life.
In 2016, Josh Daicos' dream came true, being selected by Collingwood under the father-son rule with pick 57 in the draft. He was officially a Magpie. While maybe the surname was what got him to the club, it was up to him to prove that he belonged. An exclamation point to his intentions of creating his own legacy was the decision he made to wear the number 26 instead of his father's own famous 35. Unlike his brother, Mr. Nicky Daicos, Josh's early years at Collingwood were filled with glimpses of potential, but also moments of doubt.
Josh is a little bit different to Cal. He hasn't had that, I suppose, sustained exposure to a high end. I had a little bit of injuries and a few little niggles in the post-second half of the year. This is really his first year in an elite system.
The weight of expectation can be heavy, and it took time for him to find his feet in the senior team. But he did manage to sneak in a couple of games in the back end of his first year with the Pies in 2017, capping it off with an early goal in a winning game against the D's.
He's already had the 5 disposals. Started this game really well for the Pies through the mid.
Made his debut last week, didn't score a goal. So he's got an opportunity for his first career goal. In he comes, steady approach, leans back and gets the goal. Pies have got 2, Daicos has his first, and his teammates.
After Josh's first year in the AFL system, he would find himself in strong contention for a tilt at the flag in 2018, as he was injected into the team through the mid-portion of the season. Josh had stamped his authority early in his second game for the season against the Dockers, where he collected 15 touches, 1 goal, 7 score involvements and 5 tackles.
Oscar Elliott, he's been reliable. Daicos, one after the siren against the Dogs, one halfway through the third.
And this is what granted him an extended period to fully prove himself that he was ready to be a part of that final series. Unfortunately, some of the older bodies were doing far too well to risk bringing in an inexperienced player for our finals aspirations. The Pies were going so well in 2018 with that excruciating, painful grand final loss, and then backing it up going deep into 2019 with an arguably more disappointing result, losing in a home prelim against an undermanned GWS. This is what would keep Josh Daicos out of the side while Collingwood remained extremely competitive.
Going to sound, I think. Siren's going to sound as Lloyd handballs. GWS are through to the 2019 grand final.
Last night we were just chatting about probably your journey more, Josh, and how there was one time in your career where you honestly thought about throwing it away and quitting.
In my third year, I was struggling to get into the team. Obviously had a really good team backing up from 2018 grand final, and I had a really bad day in the VFL, and I remember Nick played as a year 10 or year 9 for Carey and killed it. So it kind of was really tough for me because I was so happy for Nick, but at the same time I felt like I was letting the family down, myself down, and I remember that night.
And after playing just 5 games in 2019, Daicos was in an unsettling position and just needed something to go his way in 2020.
There will be a curfew across metropolitan Melbourne from 8 p.m. this evening, and it will run from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. each and every day. And the only reason to be out of your home between the hours of 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. is to get care, to give care, or to go to and from work or be at work.
And with COVID getting in the way of the 2020 season, it could have been simply quite easy for Josh Daicos to give it up at that point. But that was only an extra emphasis and extra motivation for Josh to prove that he was worth everything and more in 2020 for the Collingwood Football Club.
Daicos keeps it in, like his old man. Daicos!
Not even COVID was going to halt Josh in any capacity. Some might argue that the shot was lucky, but best believe this is something Josh has practiced and been waiting for his entire life.
You know, we've touched on your skill level and ability to hit the scoreboard. You've already won a goal of the year, could have been 2. But that first one you won, the check side from the junction, that was a kick that you've practiced a lot, and just funny how it came up in game situation.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that Nick and I practice. Like I think you've done a couple of times with us, like a few of the kicking drills we do with the pole, just making the goal shorter, and I was just getting in a rhythm. And I remember just doing that same kick over and over again and couldn't miss. And Nick, it was like for some reason Nick kind of struggled with that kick, kicks every other kick, but he just let me keep going.
Now, along with that goal of the year against Sydney in a clutch time game, Josh was also able to string a career high 18 games in the one season. He was finally finding himself playing at a high level in a wing position. Josh goes on to average 17 disposals for the season and is acknowledged in the best 22 under-22 side come season's end. A shining light in what was otherwise a drastic fall from the standard the Pies had held in 2018 and 2019. Daicos proved in 2021 that he wouldn't be a one-season wonder, maintaining the consistency that he displayed in 2020. However, the Pies had reached the lowest of lows relative to where we stood in 2018. Finishing second last, the club had a complete makeover in the off-season. Buck's gone, Fly in, Maguire stands down, and then this.
What's your name? Nick Daicos. And who's your dad? Peter Daicos. Collingwood supporters want to know, and players, are you going to play for Collingwood?
With pick 4, Collingwood have matched the Gold Coast Suns' bid for Nicholas Daicos from the Oakley Chargers.
Family has always been a part of the Josh Daicos story, but 2022 brought a raw dimension to that bond. It was the year that younger brother Nick joined him at Collingwood, uniting the Daicos brothers under the same black and white banner for the first time. Josh and Nick have always shared a special bond, and despite the 5 years age gap, they were always seemingly jointed at the hips in all phases of their life.
Josh Daicos, Nick Daicos from the pocket. What a star this young man is! Brother to brother through the middle.
For some Collingwood fans, it would have been reasonable to assume that at age 24, being in the system for 5 years, we may have thought that Josh had hit his ceiling at an AFL level, which was a great return for a pick 57 in all honesty. But with the addition of his brother in 2022, Josh probably had the fire lit in his belly to do everything that he can to raise his game to a level he hadn't reached before. And if you have a sibling, you probably know that this is just human nature 101 in its purest form. Lifting to another level because you want to drive the standards with your brother coming into the league. Moreover, for your team, a dash of competitive drive would also hold some part in that. Josh teared up the wing in 2022, kicking 3 goals against Gold Coast in this massive game and this clutch moment where the Daicos brothers stole the headlines of the game.
Casbolt and Cox, neutral. Nick Daicos, good vision, the brother. Didn't need to call for it, was already coming in his direction. Josh Daicos looks for 3, has 3, we're back to a goal.
And if you thought it couldn't get any better than that, then how about this goal just 3 games later?
The ball in the middle of the ground, getting back to help, and nothing forward of the footy.
Durham did pretty well to get some of his body on that. Break it up, but Daicos wins it. Away he goes. A couple of bounces. And like his brilliant father, thumps it through. There he is.
This goal, certainly goal of the year, right? It's a sure thing. got to put the house on it.
And the winner is...
Sausage of the year goes to Sam Draper for the Essendon.
Well, maybe not. Never mind. The Pies are moving on to bigger and better things, while Essendon will be celebrating their 21st birthday next year, which marks 21 years of not winning a final. Anyhow, I digress and return back to the point of Josh's career, which shifts our attention to a massive qualifying final against the Cats at the G, and we hadn't seen a Daicos goal in an AFL final series since Peter Daicos kicked the first goal in the 1990 grand final.
Tries to go back, take a safe one, but he attacked the game and went the long one like he said, Darth.
Haven't seen a Daicos kick a goal in a final since the 1990 premiership when Peter did it. Now Josh, he's got it. What a start for the Pies, and Pete loves it.
Joshy was on a mission against the Cats. He accumulated a career-high 29 disposals at the time and was willing his team to a prelim finals berth. But unfortunately, Jezza and Rowan would haunt the Pies again, as they so often have. Nevertheless, this game was a massive step in the right direction for Josh. The Pies would salvage their season and make it all the way through to a daunting task, facing the Swans at the SCG. And matters were made only worse by the halftime point in this game. Down by 30 points, conceding 73 points, who could possibly step up and draw a line in the sand for the Pies?
Sense in the prelim final, Nick Daicos, you couldn't have had a better first up year. The Rising Star winner, taken as a father-son from pick 4. Can he deliver a goal? He can, Nick Daicos.
The Pies still believe. Chance here, deep in their forward line. Cameron to Daicos. Can he do what his brother did moments ago? Over the shoulder, through the middle. That's the one they needed.
Yes, you guessed it. The Daicos brothers rallied together to get the Pies into a rampant comeback. But sadly, we do fall short, losing by 1 point. The Pies will be back, and with Josh having a consistent final series, the Pies family knew that we had something brewing in the Daicos factory that was something very special. The year 2023 will go down in Collingwood's history as a year of heartache and endless angst, biting through every bit of what's left on our fingernails, and for Josh Daicos, it was a culmination of years of dedication, sacrifice, perseverance from being an unrecognised commodity in the draft pool, facing great difficulties, being a fringe player on the list for a couple years. It truly is chalk and cheese from where he started and where he found himself in 2023. But before we embarked in 2023, the Daicos family would mourn the loss of their grandfather, Peter's father, during the first week of the season. And in honour of their grandfather, they would dedicate the win against Geelong, leaving rose petals in the middle of the field as they farewelled the MCG for the evening. And Josh simply picked up where he left from and stamped his authority right out the gates from the beginning of 2023.
Butters spills away, could be dangerous, pinging back the other way, crisp. Josh Daicos from 55. Your beauty, Pies fans, 8 unanswered.
And while the win-loss column may suggest that the Pies were humming along all season long, my heart might have something to say about that. In round 11, Josh seemed to hit a flow state, kicking 3 of his very best goals against North. To cap Josh's incredibly consistent home and away season, Josh would amass a career-high 38 disposals against Geelong in round 22, and it seems like Josh seems to be taking quite a liking to playing the Cats. Remember how I mocked Essendon about not making finals? Well, here's Josh in game 100, adding insult to injury for the hapless Bombers.
Here go the Bombers. Can they rebound? It's been chopped up here by Collingwood. The magnificence of Daicos is there for all to see.
Essendon players are still not happy that Redmond wasn't paid holding the ball there with Jamie Elliott. It'd be interesting to see him.
Josh was rewarded for his home and away efforts, being handed his first All-Australian blazer, averaging 25 disposals while also kicking 16 goals. It was a personal triumph for Josh and his family, but let's be honest, we were chasing one thing and one thing only 2023, and it was that elusive 16th premiership.
Collingwood are premiers in 2023.
Josh and his brother, Nicky Whisper, rejoice winning the 2023 flag together, side by side. Stuff you can only dream about being a reality, all the while achieving this incredible feat in front of their mother, Colleen, and father, Peter, a Collingwood legend. And would you believe it? There was one final cherry to be added to that Josh Daicos cake. He would take home the club's Copeland Trophy ahead of his brother Nick, Braden Maynard, Tom Mitchell, and Pendles. This is Josh Daicos simply writing his own story. Not Nick, not Peter, just JD7. Fast forward to 2024, the Pies struggled to steady the ship as they battled injuries, forced retirements, and perhaps a lack of hunger earlier in the year. However, despite all the volatility that Collingwood was suffering from, Josh managed to keep his standards high, whether it was on the wing, in the middle, or even more recently in the half back line, where he's averaged 29 disposals and 5 score involvements in the last 5 games, all played at half back. The Pies will be back, and the Daicos brothers will be there, no matter what. Go Pies.
An amazing moment too. Hey, oh, come in. Yeah, come in.
We have to get this photo. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying that's what they want. On air. Oh, you now. Yeah. What do you think? I'm doing it.
Come in with the premiership card. Come on. Here you go. There we go. All right.